Geek Easy fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice, because today I'm going to combine some reviews into one video. I've got 3 things I've read here that I wanted to do reviews on, but just doing 3 videos and just popping them up would have been a little much, so I'm just going to put it all into one. Okay, first off, I am going to review the Night Club trade paperback. This is volume 1. It's published by, I think it's Dark Horse Comics, written by Mark Millar. Now, I did get the trades, and I saw this sitting in my LCS the other day, a week or 2 ago, I guess it was, and I liked this series enough that I picked up the trade. I normally don't do that. You know, if I have the floppies, I just generally keep the floppies, but every once in a while I will get the trade as well, and this is one of them that I decided to do that. The basic gist of this, okay, well, let me just read the back. You're 17 years old and you've been bitten by a vampire. Do you live in the shadows and drink human blood, or do you use your newfound abilities to have a little fun and live the life you've always wanted? Good question, right? Mark Millar, Nemesis, Civil War, reinvents the vampire genre with a completely fresh take with stunning art by Junanin Ramirez. Okay, so that's the name right there. I probably messed it up, and I apologize for that if I did. Junanin. Anyway. Okay, so cover artist Greg Capullo. This is okay. So what we have here is, it starts out with our central character. Here he is, or the 3 central characters, doing a ready to shoot a YouTube video. They want to be influencers. They want to make money. They need to do something that will get them views in order to get big. And his idea is, the main character's idea is to, see people doing kind of, I don't want to say dumb stuff, but over the top stuff, which draws attention and gets people to watch. So what it's the perfect way to get rich, Sam. Think about it. You literally get paid just for doing cool stuff and sticking it up on your private channel. You don't have to be good at shit in order to make the content people watch. I know exactly what people want to watch. Parkour. So, what he wants to do, he wants to try and do parkour on his bike. And it's Danny who's the one who, and it doesn't go over well. He falls down and he winds up paralyzed. Yeah. So he falls off there, falls down the distance, and it fucks him up. Shouldn't be laughing, but it's kind of funny. So then what happens is he gets bit by a vampire who is a cop in the local police department. And the cop bites him, hypnotizes the people to think that, the kid had just gotten a couple bruises and all this stuff, takes him and keeps him in this room for 3 days. It's a 3-day thing. And the guy regains consciousness, and he's like, okay, there's a fight coming up, and I need an army. And you seem to be the type of person to want it, to be involved. Doesn't go much more into that. Then the cop disappears. Oh, he teaches him a little bit of how to do stuff like become bat, how to do this, do that, do the other things, and sees the abilities, he sees the abilities he has. And yes, you can't go out during the sun, stuff like that. But the cop says, I gotta go. But then so the kid decides, hey, I'm going to go get my friends, and we're going to use this power to do the YouTube thing and make money. So he puts on a luchador mask so he can go out during the day. And once he tells the kids who he is and all that, they start doing stuff, and it leads to they're making a bunch of money, but then it draws the attention of a vampire gang, this vicious vampire gang, and they have to deal with that. It's a really interesting book, just because you can sort of see how this would happen. It's a modern day society thing. This kid's like, oh fuck, I'm gonna make money. And he winds up changing the other two people as well. And so it's a really great story. Just it's entertaining. It's fun. Each kid has an individual identity. They're not just typical teenagers, and they'd react the way certain kids would, like going after the bullies and all this, and using the powers for their own good. But then when the chips are down, boom. I really enjoyed this book. I liked the floppies and this, and I liked just the trade. And there's nothing extra in here. It's just just 1 through, I think it's 6. Yes, issues 1 through 6 because it was a mini, and it does say volume 1 because they sort of left it open for a part 2, and I think there was a part 2. I'm not sure. Another series, but it is going to be continued on in another series, and I really excited to see what happens in number 2 because they did leave it off on a really cool note. You're like, oh shit, what's going to happen now? So I'm going to give this. I don't like giving things perfect scores, but 4.75 out of 5. Just because it's good. I recommend it. If you like Mark Millar, you're going to like this. Okay, then from a good one to one I was kicking myself for buying even before I bought it, knowing full well what I was getting into. And yeah, Wonder Woman Outlaw, published by DC, written by that wonderful comic book writer, Tom King. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't notice the sarcasm in my voice. Not a big fan. For those of you who do, okay, let me just, when an Amazon is accused of mass murder, Wonder Woman must find her before the elite U.S. strike force does. Failure will mean an all-out war between America and the Amazonians, or Amazons, and that's exactly why the mysterious mastermind called, and that's exactly what the mysterious mastermind called the Sovereign wants. A bold new take on DC's greatest heroine begins in this stunning collection by writer Tom King, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and breakout artist Daniel Samfer, Crisis on Infinite Earths. King and Semperi introduce Trinity, the teenage daughter of Wonder Woman, in a story that pit Diana against villains Giganta, Dr. Psycho, Silver Swan, and more. Plus the debut of Sovereign, whose lasso of lies prove more powerful than Diana's powers of truth. Okay, now, Tom King just likes taking characters and just fucking them up completely, just radically changing them, just no concern for how that character was, just he wants to do it the way he wants to do it. And he does that with Wonder Woman. Now, I admit that I'm not exactly the biggest Wonder Woman fan, nor an expert on her, but this is just ridiculous. It starts out with, I guess, Trinity meeting Damien and not Clark, but Damien, Batman, and John Kent. And there's something that they have to do, so they're all on the mascara. And then she starts talking to the Sovereign, who's telling the story. And we have it all starts with there's a game of pool being played, a bunch of guys who, I guess, they're playing pool against a Amazonian woman. And I guess he touches her. And I guess the implication is that he grabbed her inappropriately or something. And she proceeds to beat the shit out of him and 16 other guys in the bar and kills them. Not an overreaction at all. Leaves the two women in the bar alive because, they're women. That's pretty much what they speculated in here. Still, it turns out that she's an Amazonian, 6'3", yada, yada, yada. And some of the people behind the scenes manipulate this whole situation into they have to get rid of all of the Amazonians living in this country because who knows what their plots are.
Yep.
It's always been my understanding that Wonder Woman was the only one that lived in America, that all Amazonians were pretty much living on Paradise Island, or Themyscira, that she was the only one who was out in the world. But now all of a sudden we have a whole bunch of, Amazonian women living in America, having lives and all that stuff, and they're all refusing to go because and there's just become this not thinly veiled commentary on immigration, which is what a lot of the mainstream comics are doing now. They're just taking certain points and just beating you over the head with it. It's like, dude, what? It's just, yeah. And then they start going after Wonder Woman. So the big setup is this one woman, Amazon woman, kills 17 people in a bar. And they want to, that's the big impetus on doing this. But then they pretty much ignore finding that woman and, maybe punishing her for it. And it just turns against this whole thing against going after Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman fighting back. So she's fighting the government, this shadow government, and the shadow government finding her to ruin her reputation or something like that. And the book becomes nothing about the actual supposed crime that set it up. So it's like, are we not, it's just like mentioned like maybe once, twice more in all the 6 issues here. So, okay, did we not, if it's justice for these 17 people that they originally said they wanted, why is all this going on? I mean, Wonder Woman says that she's trying to find this woman, which shouldn't be really hard. I mean, how many 6'3", buff, blonde women are there out there that have the strength of an Amazonian? Not many. But it's just like, okay, here's this plot point, but yeah, we don't need to worry about that anymore because that's not important. That's not fit. And they just have her not doing stuff that we've seen her doing before. And then they have this whole issue where she goes to the hospital to visit this dying boy who is her biggest fan. He's dying of cancer, and it's his last wish. And so she spends the day with him and takes him out to on a ride on the invisible jet, and goes out to Themyscira, and she gets confronted for being there because she's causing all these problems. But she's like, okay, let's the boy. So let's put this aside. So they let her sit there for the day to show this little boy around who's they don't like bringing outsiders onto the island, but do that, and then lets her leave again. So if it's not. But it's not important finding, this thing and solving all the problems. I'm just reading this thing and just going, what the fuck? I mean, and then there's one issue where she's fighting all the people. And they make it look like it's a big showdown, and it's like 3/4 of one issue. And another thing that really got me annoyed was she takes on a brigade of Marines. And Steve Trevor said, okay, there's enough to overtake a medium-sized country. And she takes care of it by herself. And they said Marines, but then they refer to this guy after that as soldier. There's this one Marine that they had in there, and they keep referring to him as soldier, and it's like, no. Yeah. And not the same thing. If you refer to a Marine as soldier, there's going to be issues. It's Marine. And they just basically, and Tom King, being his previous job, would know better than to do something like that. And they just made this. It bugged me because I'm ex-military myself. I'm not, I work with Marines and stuff. They're making this guy look like he's this, so little, such a, I got beat by a girl thing that he had to kill himself because of it. And it's just like, dude, it was, yeah, the art was fantastic. Yeah, okay, here. Like, here's the guy right here, and they make him look like he's about, 4 years. He's got the mental capacity of a child, which, yeah. The art looks great. The story was absolutely horrid, and it deserves all the derision that it's been getting from people. And I knew that it was going to be this way. I don't know why I did it. So I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 just because the art looked so good. That's it. And that's being generous because they really did have some good art. And, okay. Let's move on from that. I'm getting annoyed talking about it. Okay, now the last one is Vampirella, The Dynamite Years. Number 1. Omnibus Volume 1. So, obviously, the Dynamite Years. There's more to it than just this one, but it goes with this volume collects Vampirella, 2011 to 2012, written by Eric Troutman, Brandon Jarwa. It doesn't really say what issues are in it, but let's see. It goes through 1 through 7, 8 through 11, 12 through 20. So it's basically 1 through 20, and then annuals 1 and 2. And you've got, it starts out in Seattle, where Vampirella is working for the Vatican. And she rescues a woman who is being attacked by some men, and I guess it was This is her right here. And there's some cops who are vampires and all that. And the woman that she saves eventually talks her way into becoming her assistant. And one cool thing is, not really cool, but it's different, is she works for, one, she doesn't use the old outfit anymore. She's in normal clothes. And when I said that she works for the Vatican, she works for the super secret section of the Vatican where there's like a strike force where they go after some of the evils and stuff, and she gets sent on these missions to go after vampires and demons and stuff. And it is really well written and well thought out. Let's see. And some of the art in here is just incredible. Each story, there's some individual story arcs, but there's an overall arc. And one of the things they did in here, which I really like, because this came out in, this said it was 2011, or 2010, sorry. There were different publishing companies, starting with Warren, that had this character and did different things with her. And what they did is they acknowledged that there were separate origins for her, because there were, and all that. And it turns out that she's having problems with her memory, so she's not sure if the origin of her being from Draculon, as what happened with the Warren publishing one, or being the son of a demon, some demon or something like that on the other one, was her real origin. So she's not sure, and I sort of like what they did with that. So they're allowing the continuity that happened before to still be in there, and just sitting there saying she doesn't know. And eventually they were going to find it out, because she's still with Dynamite today, modern times. And they make her kind of I don't want to say a girl boss, but they make her just, she's strong because she's a vampire. She knows what she's doing. And, she's got these certain sets of things that she goes by, but she's also, hesitant to do things. She's not perfect. She's hesitant to take this person on, because all of her previous assistants have been hurt. And they also keep her in regular. And here, here's where it's talking about her past. And they keep her in regular clothes most of the time. And there are points when she is in the old outfit, but that's to distinguish like something in her head from the modern one, because there is a couple of stories where she's dealing with stuff like that. And this it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I want to get number 2 because they did a really, who was this? The writer did such a great job in writing this and plotting it out and doing this, and the art was incredible. And one thing I just thought was so cool is annual number 2. It's the very end. She has to go to Seattle to investigate, not Seattle, but someplace in upper western Washington, because there's this, big, what they call, fans of this sparkling vampire stories. They don't call it Twilight, but it's obviously Twilight. They just call them something else. There's this big convention going on there, and real vampires are attacking him, and she has to go up there and take care of that. And so they're just basically slamming Twilight, which I thought was really cool. But I'm gonna give this a 4.25 out of 5, because there's a couple of issues that arcs that went on just a tad bit too long. But yeah, I'm just gonna give this. This was great, and I'm gonna get number 2. It should be out. I don't know, but I recommend it if you're a fan of Vampirella. This is a really good run, and I suggest you get it. But anyway, that's it. That's all 3 that I've done. So let me know if you've read them, what you thought of them, and like, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy your comics.